Right now at 5, we begin with a disturbing allegation against a Louisville daycare. A grandmother telling WHAS11 her baby was left behind after the facility shut its doors for the day.
WHAS11's Alexis Jones is sharing her story and a long history of failed inspections from the very same property.
A nightmare for a Louisville grandmother.
I went ballistic, screaming, crying. I was out of my mind.
Barbara Martin recalls the crippling moment when 8-month-old Isaiah Michelle was locked inside of a daycare. Martin says Little Angels Enrichment Center typically closes no earlier than 6. But when she and her family arrived at 5:30 on Friday, the doors were locked and they heard crying inside.
She's just screaming in there in the dark by herself. We heard her screaming, but we just couldn't get to her.
Martin immediately called 911, but before police arrived, she says her children were able to open the back door with tree branches.
They was running through the daycare trying to find her. She was just screaming. And they found her in a playpen on the floor,
which Martin says an employee told her they forgot to check before leaving early. And to make matters worse, Martin says owner Aaliyah Lee asked her to keep the incident quiet. I spoke to Lee today. She offered her apologies.
I do feel bad and I'm very apologetic for what happened. And nothing like this has ever happened.
According to inspection reports on Kentucky's Child Care Center database, the daycare has a history of compliance issues dating back to 2016. Investigations allege school-aged children were left outside of the daycare alone, a substitute with a history of child abuse and neglect cases, and a crash that sent 3 children to the hospital. There were also 3 more incidents leading to investigations in 2016, and 11 in total between 2017 and today. Right now, the daycare is under a plan of correction to fix the issues within the facility. But Martin stresses when it comes to children, that's not enough. Martin adds there are still some unanswered questions to this case, like why the daycare closed early and why she wasn't notified. In Louisville, Alexis Jones, WHAS11 on your side.
This is still an ongoing investigation. LMPD and Kentucky Child Protective Services are both working this case.
Also here tonight this morning, a protest outside the Louisville Hall of Justice downtown in connection to a deadly DUI crash from March.
Justice for Mohammed! Justice for Mohammed! Justice for Mohammed!
17-year-old Mohammed Hussein died after police say Ernesto Ocampo rammed into the vehicle he was riding in while driving under the influence. It happened northbound on Shepherdsville Road. According to LMPD, Ocampo's blood alcohol level was 4 times the legal limit. Just a few weeks ago, he pleaded not guilty for his role in Mohammed's death. Now today, Mohammed's family is calling for justice.
There's nothing you can say or do that can make me think that you're not guilty. Even if it's not my son, it's not their son, it's not your son. Tell me, is he guilty for killing the 17-year-old who was just sitting in a car and you were too drunk to take a break? That's guilty.
Ocampo could get life in prison for Mohammed's death. Today in court, his bail was raised to $500,000.
It is Election Day for many voters in southern Indiana, making their voice heard in the primary ahead of this November's general election.
Right now, tonight, we're going to run through some of the races on the ballot in our area. In Clark County, Indiana, tonight, Jeffersonville Mayor Mike Moore is running unopposed for the Republican nomination again for mayor. With no candidates on the Democratic side, Mike Moore is moving into his 4th term as the popular Jeffersonville mayor. Charlestown, Indiana Mayor Treva Hodges is running unopposed for the Democratic nomination in Charlestown, and candidate Ruthie Jackson is the only Republican candidate running for that seat.
In Floyd County, New Albany Mayor Jeff Gahan faces candidate Dylan Rash for the Democratic nomination, and Edward Clear is running for the Republican nomination for New Albany Mayor. The polls close just about an hour from now at 6 o'clock. From education to the economy and gun control, last night, 5 Republican candidates for Kentucky governor shared their plans for our state.
It was also the first time Daniel Cameron and Kelly Craft were able to square off face-to-face. The Attorney General and former UN Ambassador Kelly Craft, also former Attorney Eric Dieters, Somerset, Kentucky Mayor Alan Keck, and Agriculture Commissioner Ryan Quarles participating in the live debate on KET. In light of last month's mass shooting at Old National Bank, the candidates were asked whether they would support gun control reforms.
No, I don't support any sort of gun control. The Second Amendment is sacrosanct, and we need to make sure that we protect it for Kentuckians all across the Commonwealth.
I'm not touching the Second Amendment and due process. We need to make certain that we follow the rules that are currently written, and we have to open the conversation of mental health, of mental illness.
That I am sick and tired of the gun violence that happens, where the violence comes from those shooting and the people that are being shot are not armed.
I do think we have an olive branch on murder weapons. I think it's insane that those are being sold to the highest bidder.
What we do need more is more gun safety training, especially for those that grow up learning about the Second Amendment. It's about personal protection. It's about hunting as well. I'm a big hunter myself.
Kentucky primaries later this month. Here's a reminder for the primary in just a few weeks. There are 4 ways you can vote. The first in person on Election Day, Tuesday, May 16th. There are 3 days of no excuse in-person early voting beforehand. If you do have a qualifying excuse, you can vote as early as this Wednesday. Finally, mail-in ballots must be requested by tomorrow and received by the county clerk by 6 p.m. on Election Day.
Well, it certainly is a nice day out there today. I think if we could take this all week, Doug, that'd be a good Derby week.
I know it. We are getting closer and closer, of course, to Oaks Day and Derby, the 2 biggest days of racing in America. And we are tomorrow going to see the great steamboat race. We had a pretty good 5-0 Tuesday at Churchill Downs today, Ben.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good traditions, even some new traditions. 5-0 Tuesday, start off sunny, but now it's kind of like yesterday. We have the clouds, and we just want this atmosphere to settle down a little bit. It's been pretty gusty out there. Had a wind gust up to 38 earlier this afternoon. Right now, that wind gust at 32, and obviously makes those 50s feel a little chillier than that. If you have some plans to be out and about this evening, you'll definitely want that jacket. Live view over Churchill Downs here with that mostly cloudy sky. Our live view provided by our Belmont Village Senior Living Cam, part of our U of L Health Camera Network, and our temperatures mostly in the 50s now. We were in the 60s when we had the sunshine earlier this afternoon. This little layer of clouds has been dropping in from the north and northwest. There might be a sprinkle or 2 tonight, but most areas will be dry. You can see that cool flow from the northwest, so 50s this evening, and then overnight low temperatures like last night will drop down to the 40s with a partial clearing. We're going to get rid of a lot of the clouds tomorrow. Lots of sunshine for our steamboat race Wednesday, and temperatures will be a bit milder as we head into the 60s. Looks like mid 60s for the city tomorrow. 45 our low for tonight with still some chilly breezes out there. 57 at lunchtime tomorrow and plenty of sunshine. Overall, a wonderful Wednesday tomorrow with a high of 65 degrees. It still looks like Oaks could have a rain chance. We're going to time that out in a lot more detail coming up in just a few minutes in our complete forecast.
It's a nod to the area code here in Louisville, and really a celebration of everything that makes, Derby Week special, and that's our local community.
There you heard it. That is why this newest day at the track is called 5-0 Tuesday, celebrating all things Louisville with a great admission to the track today, $5. So today is the first one out of the gate, dedicated to those who live and love the Derby City.
And the locals were greeted with a day of great weather, plenty of sunshine. WHAS11's Isaiah Kim Martinez and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton were some of the people out there enjoying it. Isaiah, have you seen people really embracing this day?
Oh yeah, you can definitely see the line of them right behind me. This is the big crowds that we've been seeing all day. This is actually just finishing up from the 9th and final race here today on 5-0 Tuesday. The horse actually named Shibwe coming in 3rd for UK fans out there. Now this, of course, not the crowds you're typically used to seeing for like a Kentucky Derby or a Kentucky Oaks, but that's kind of the point, right? These are locals who want to have a little more space, a little more comfort, including to go ahead and check out the temporary paddock here, basically the center of everything. We also saw a very young horse fan enjoy it too. Sure you do. You just need a reminder.
5-0 Tuesday.
For the dapper 4-year-old Jackson, his mom, our own Haley Minogue, and so many others who call Louisville home, this is their time on Derby Week.
5-0 Tuesday.
What does a local day like today mean for you guys?
It means family, friends, liquor, betting, and all of the things that are Kentucky Derby.
Ashley Johnson dressed in pink with horses on her jeans, alongside her friends who made sure their outfits were top-notch.
You can look like you got a bag without having to spend it.
And also dressed for the beautiful but also windy weather.
I knew that it was supposed to be a cold day, and I wanted to bring some black in for some heat.
But I'm glad they recognize the local people one day. before all the big people get here.
It used to be Friday was our day, and then Thursday became our day, and every day is just getting more and more crowded. So it's nice just to have a day.
Each of the 9 races on 5-0 Tuesday recognized a historic Louisville landmark. 4-1 odds, that's pretty good.
Yeah, like I said, she got a good shot at it.
For example, Sean Huffman's number 2 horse, Sonyador, raced in the brewery.
I'm from Louisville. My family grew up right around the track here, and I actually have family here that are trainers and involved with the track. So it's just been a long tradition of loving to come out, and especially now that they made a day special for just the Louisvillians.
And with a brand new paddock taking shape,
Horses.
the locals are taking it all in.
I picked number 3.
Jackson even predicting one of the winners.
On the track for the second.
One more look at the temporary paddock set up here. Again, Jackson picking the winner for that race. It was actually Electric Sense, who he had told us after would win. Unfortunately, Haley told me they didn't bet any money on that horse. But Doug Shea, she's got a winner there. Her son doing a great job here with us here today.
And he is a champion. Thank you very much, Isaiah. And the theme continues tomorrow. Tomorrow at Churchill Downs is Champions Day. It's going to be a celebration of the thoroughbred racing history, which has been around for a while, but this year they moved Champions Day to Wednesday of Derby Week now. And tomorrow all day long, Churchill Downs will be honoring the greatest, the 50th anniversary of Secretariat's Triple Crown win. Not just any win, he still holds all the time records today. Secretariat is buried at Claiborne Farm in Paris, Kentucky, where last year 12,000 visitors toured just to see his tombstone. By the way, gates open tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. The first race is going to be at 12:45 p.m. It's a full day of racing with the last race tomorrow, Wednesday on Champions Day at 5:45 p.m. 5:25, excuse me. Well, with more than 100,000 people heading to Churchill Downs for the Oaks and Derby, safety is the top priority for the city.
Today, we got an update on the safety and traffic plans ahead of this weekend. You will see first responders from both state and federal agencies all around the track. That includes LMPD, the Sheriff's Office, Kentucky State Police, National Guard, Secret Service, and the FBI. But police won't only be focused on Churchill Downs. They are also making plans to keep traffic under control on Broadway, where cruising has caused problems in the past. LMPD Assistant Chief Steve Healy said today they'll have no parking signs posted all along Broadway.
I highly suggest paying attention to where those are. If you come out of whatever event you may be in and your car is not there, check with the LMPD tow lot to see if it's impounded before you report it stolen. We will be strictly enforcing that because illegal parking has impeded the flow of traffic in years past.
Healy says they have not told businesses when to operate on Friday or Saturday. There are also no plans to install barricades anywhere like they did in 2021. You can expect to see several road closures around Churchill Downs. The most impacted areas will be on Central Avenue, Taylor Boulevard, and Southern Parkway. Find a complete list of the 4 dozen plus road closures on our website. That's WHAS11.com.